Ever since the dawn of the internet, people have had the dream of playing games with their friends, but without actually having to be in the same room as them. Now, whether you live far away and playing online games is your only option, or you're just a hermit who doesn't feel like leaving their cave and stepping into the sunlight, online gaming has given many people the opportunity to connect with their friends when they otherwise may not have been able to.
Do we know where the other attraction point is?
Oh, I didn't mean to pull a pin!
But for me, as time progressed and I spent more and more time playing Fortnite and other online games, it became harder and harder for me to sit down and play a game where I have to be by myself, where I don't have an endless list of quests to motivate me, and I'm not drawn in by the rinse and repeat formula that online games have come to master. And it had me wondering, what was I missing out on? So come with me as I journey down this rabbit hole of offline games and discover what we're missing out on if we drift further and further away from this beautiful, disconnected world of intricately woven stories and never forgettable experiences. I'm not gonna lie, I hate it when stories end. This is one of the reasons I have really enjoyed reading The Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson. This series has 5 books with 2 shorter novellas, so not a ton of books, but it has over 6,000 pages between all of these stories. But would any of those pages have really mattered if there was no end? I loved watching the characters grow and progress, and I felt the impact when dramatic stuff happened. No spoilers, of course. And even though it's over, I loved every minute of it because it ended. This is where offline gaming is at its peak. All of the Metroid games, except for Metroid Prime 4, make you feel like you actually escaped from a hostile alien planet. Split Fiction ended with all of the characters dramatically different from where they started, and Expedition 33 actually requires you to make a difficult decision to determine the end of the game. Without an ending, these games would have never been as impactful as they were, and online games struggle to provide that same type of impact. Okay, so to better describe this, I'm going to show you guys some of the Fortnite story because what the heck? Okay, so chapter 1, I felt like the story was pretty good. Chapter 2 wasn't too bad. The Marvel stuff felt like it was not in the universe of Fortnite, but whatever. And then I guess this page kind of ends, but like, that's my point, right? We've had like 3 more chapters and it like stops at season 14 and then it's like, yeah, I don't know, dude, what story is there? So anyway, that's my point, is like, the online games, because they go on forever, like you can't have a story that goes on forever. It has to end at some point in order for it to have impact. And that was sort of what I was saying. Okay, back in. Of course, the reason that so many online games are popular is because they're fun. That infinite loop is enjoyable. It's super satisfying to see yourself get better and finally be able to triple edit consistently or hit a flip reset for the first time. These games that never end, the online games, do truly give us an opportunity to push our limits and do things that we originally thought impossible. Plus, there are offline games that also technically go on forever, like Factorio, Minecraft, or Stardew Valley. Even though you can beat these games, this doesn't mean that you have to stop. However, unlike online games, you play them because you want to push yourself to the next level. There's no infinite list of quests to complete or new rank to achieve, and you're not trying to compete and beat somebody in a box fight. Once you have beaten these games, they're purely played because you want to challenge yourself and do something that you haven't done before. Speaking of games, one of the best parts of focusing on offline gaming is that your catalog includes so many incredible retro games. Pokemon, oh my gosh, Pokemon, oh, I love Pokemon. All the retro Pokemon games are so good. Metroid, Chrono Trigger, and Legend of Zelda. All of these games are fantastic, and there's honestly never been a better time to play them, regardless of whether it's your 100th time or your first. Plus, getting a retro handheld can make playing these games even more enticing because it's a totally separate device, removes you from the distractions of the world, and gives you a separate space where you can disconnect freely. Of course, you can do the same thing with your phone. The best handheld is the one that you already have. But even just holding my phone tempts me to go watch a YouTube video or see if there are any more DSIs on eBay. Avoiding these distractions completely gives you the distance that you might need to break free from some of the bad habits that are associated with your phone. And finding engaging, fun, offline first games gives you a reason to pick up that secondary device and play. I just made a video about the Steam Deck, and this thing is honestly the poster child for offline gaming. It can emulate basically anything you throw at it. It has console-esque access to all of your Steam games. Plus, it actually lets me get out of my office, which is where I spend 80% of my waking hours, and I don't always want to be in the same place where I'm online, working, or doing other online things all of the time. So often I forget that doing something for myself just to have a good time or just to chill is so good. How productive an activity is my brain's way of deciding whether it's objectively good to do or not. And since I've started playing online games, offline games have felt less and less productive because I'm not spending time with anyone and I'm not really like accomplishing anything. And so my brain is just like, does not compute. Over the years, as I've drifted further and further away from the games that created my childhood and started playing online games, this feeling only got stronger. The main reason I didn't feel it with online games was because I was hanging out with friends most of the time. And I felt like if I was doing something with a friend, that it was still being productive because I was spending time with someone. But I honestly never felt this way as a kid. I loved playing Pokemon Diamond by myself, and I want to return to that. I actually want to enjoy the games that I'm playing instead of just feeling like I could be doing something better or more productive with that time. I want to delve deep into the stories and connect myself with the characters because that's what brought me so much joy as a kid. Maybe it's just nostalgia, but I believe that returning to primarily offline games gives us a chance to find passion and enjoyment in solidarity again. In an age when the smartphone has become a literal addiction and short form content is leaving us with shorter and shorter attention spans, doing things that foster a longer attention span are critical. Participating in activities that don't try to grab your attention every 2 to 5 seconds forces you to actually decide what it is you want to do and prepares you for the day when you actually need to focus on something for a longer period of time. What happens when you have to read a textbook for a class, or when you have questions about life that require time and dedication to find the answer to? Playing offline games that are deep and meditative, that require focus and dedication to complete, and that maybe ask you difficult questions are perfect practice for when life requires more of us than just eating mac and cheese and watching ice cream sandwich. And especially in an age when AI can literally think for you, it's never been more important to slow down and remember how to think for yourself. There was a study done by all of these people called Your Brain on ChatGPT, and I won't get into the nitty-gritty of it, but essentially they were trying to find the cognitive cost of using AI to perform some educational task. What they discovered was that participants who used their brains to write the essay instead of an LLM experienced more connections being formed in their brain and higher satisfaction with what they had produced. The most interesting part, though, was what they called the echo chamber effect, where the things that AI considers more important are what get pushed to the top, rather than what might actually be true or false about the topic. Kurzgesagt makes an incredible one if you're more interested. Okay, one more editor's note. So when I said Kurzgesagt makes an incredible one, I was talking about the fact that they make a video that talks about this topic incredibly well. And it's basically just talking about how AI is creating things that maybe aren't 100% true, or it's just making it so that things that are maybe not the most important about a topic are the ones that get talked about and brought up. And then everybody talks about that because that's what they're asking the LLM as well. And anyway, you should definitely go watch it if you're more interested. But the fact that AI is changing the way that we think and changing the thoughts that we have is crazy. And offline gaming helps us go back to a time when we can actually think and create ideas and thoughts for ourselves. When we actually take the time to think and come up with creative solutions for our problems, we find more satisfaction in our lives and we're better equipped to handle future problems. Playing games that actually ask you to think in order to progress can be used to progress us in life and help us become better, more interesting people. Another way that offline gaming supports you as a person is that they let you play games at your own pace. This is a luxury offered to you through offline gaming that you just don't get when you're constantly playing online games. There's no pressure to play constantly to unlock every reward in the battle pass, and you're not going to drop rank if you stop playing for a month. Plus, you're not going to miss any new content because life got too overwhelming and you just didn't have time to play. Offline games are designed to let you play and progress at your own pace, in your own time, instead of the constant updates, achievements, and rewards that online games use to keep you playing just another round. And of course, because they're constantly adding new content to the game, they've got to monetize it somehow. I'm not saying that these games should just keep cranking out content for free. They've got to make money somehow. But sometimes it just feels like it's gone too far. Loot boxes, subscriptions, and in-game currency are the norm when it comes to online gaming. Fortnite popularized the Battle Pass format, and sure, if you are patient, at least in Fortnite, and you play enough, you can get it for free. But they're constantly releasing other skins and cosmetics that they want you to purchase as well. And loot boxes cases are just even worse. At least with a shop and a battle pass, you can sort of pick what you want to buy. But with games like Genshin Impact and Overwatch, you could literally spend money forever and never get the cosmetic that you're trying to get. There have literally been lawsuits against publishers for making games that are too addictive or too easy to spend money playing. They do this through misleading players about real costs with in-game currency, or straight up lying to them about the odds of getting a specific cosmetic. And they're gonna keep doing it because it's way more profitable to continue to lie than it costs them when they get caught. Plus, what happens when a game no longer becomes lucrative enough to continue supporting? What have we seen companies do when it becomes more of a burden to keep the servers alive than it is worth it to continue developing the game? They literally just shut the servers down. You lose all the money that you've put into the game and there's nothing to show for it, except for maybe a nasty clip here or there.
Nice, Jake.
No. Nintendo has shut down their online networks and eShops. Ubisoft shut down their servers for a racing game called The Crew, which was online only, and it wasn't free to play. Plus, despite backlash, they stuck with their decision to keep the servers offline for something that people paid to play. But probably even more important than the money that you've spent on a game, which you could, disagree. You lose all of the time that you've put into a game when the servers shut down. I have spent a lot of time playing Fortnite, and I would probably say that this is one of my favorite games of all time. But what happens when the servers shut down? Even though it might take a while, enough people will lose interest in it eventually, and the servers will be shut down. All of the time that I've spent will vanish, leaving with only the memories that I had while playing, which aren't necessarily bad, but does make you think. The only games that are eternal are the ones that you own and don't require being connected to the internet to enjoy. There is no way Nintendo could possibly make me return my copy of Pokemon Emerald because, well, first of all, I'm not the guy who released the Terra leak or anything, so I don't think Nintendo's gonna probably target me specifically, but I get to keep this forever. I get to do what I want with it. I could sell it. I could share it with someone. I could eat it. Whatever. Nintendo cannot tell me what to do because I own Pokemon Emerald and it's an offline game. Now, there is some semblance of hope for the preservation of our favorite online games, but it's not 100% positive. Stop Killing Games is an initiative that has been working on pushing game studios to take responsibility for the longevity of their games. But there's a Reddit user named Wizard of Trash, and I'm gonna just link their posts down in the description because what they said is really interesting. It's just super long and I don't have time to read it all right here, but they make really good points about how Stop Killing Games is actually maybe hurting games in ways that you would maybe not expect. It just sucks that there's no perfect solution to keep our favorite online games alive forever, especially when it feels like the easiest option is just to keep spending money to support the development of those games. Even having said all of this about the benefits of playing offline games, there are still some incredible online games that have been coming out that I have had a blast playing. Content Warning and Peak are hilarious. Among Us was such a good way to connect with friends during COVID. Lethal Company is totally stupid. It's so fun. And even the games that I've been kind of dogging on this whole video have their place. As long as you're intentional about the time that you spend, they can be a source of tons of joy and enjoyment. And I'm gonna get crazy, so just be ready. Let's talk about card games for a second. Now, this is primarily a channel about video games, but there are some incredible card games that are so much fun, and I've had a blast playing. Coup is phenomenal if you like lying and getting away with it. Skyjo is one of mine and my wife's personal favorites, and Ticket to Ride, even though it's a board game, not a card game, makes you think and plan in advance in order to win. Do not sleep on card games. They have so much more to offer than we maybe give them credit for. The first games I'm going to be playing after all this yapping is Pokemon Lazarus and Legend of Zelda the Minish Cap. And if you want to, I would love to hear which offline games you have been playing. I'm always down to find a new game or hear how offline gaming is helping you find more peace and intention in your life. So with that, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.